Thanks for coming, everybody. I just thought it would be important. Obviously, there's a lot going on with the club, and felt it's probably right for me to come out and sort of explain the different process that we've gone through to get here, and what's all transpired, so that everyone has a deeper understanding, rather than make Sheldon continually come out and answer for it when it's largely my decision making. So. Just to give you a brief background on it, at the trade deadline, we constructed our roster in a way that we would have 12 forwards, 9 defense, and 2 goalies, and then that would leave us the space and flexibility to potentially leave room for Matthew Nyes or another free agent or another player on the Marlies that earned a spot on the roster, just so we had that flexibility. And we've, as you all are aware, we've used a litany of different forwards and given them opportunities in those spots. As happens in the league, injuries do occur, and unfortunately Matt Murray was injured. We only had 6 games left, so we weren't eligible for any LTIR relief. And then every single decision that we've made since then has been what's best for the Maple Leafs in the short run, what's best getting us set for the playoffs in the long run, and what's best for the health and safety of the players. And so that's been what's guided all of our decision making, who's in the lineup, who isn't. Anybody that has been facing any sort of injury, we've tried to preserve them. We feel that, obviously we'd hoped at the beginning of the season and set it as a goal to challenge for our division. Boston has sort of run away and hid with that. When we had locked in our position, that gave us the ability to rest some guys and do right by other guys that we had. So, over the course of the last week since we've locked in the second seed in our division and home ice in that matchup, it's made it a little bit easier to be a little bit more flexible. Not that the games are meaningless, because they're preparatory for the playoffs, but it's allowed us to, what we feel has been to do right by certain players and do right by Matt Murray, do right by Ilya Samsonov, and get ready to roll for the playoffs. So though it's not necessarily something we'd want to do, is continually run out ATOs, we feel like we're in the spot where we're able to do that and be able to function, be able to run out a good lineup and roll from there. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody may have on it. I understand that it's not always clear. It's rather ambiguous, and sometimes because of the day-to-day nature of some of these injuries, we don't have the direct answers, and certainly Sheldon doesn't either. So with that, I'll open up for any questions anyone might have.
What is your exact plan for tonight?
Tonight, the league informed us early this afternoon that Joe Wall was eligible for the 50-10 exemption to play tonight. Ilya is out. We need to take care of him and where he's at. Our whole thinking kind of shifted to, we felt last night we owed just in terms of competition and what that game meant for the whole league, that we felt that we owed our best, and that included playing Ilya in the game, giving him one more before he was tested and ready to go for playoffs. So that was the way that we elected to handle it, and we viewed last night's game, because of what it meant for Florida, because of what it meant for Pittsburgh, the Islanders, Buffalo, all the teams still in contention. We thought we owed it our best lineup last night, including playing some guys that were a little bit dinged up. It's kind of it's a tough one, because if we did what was best just for our team, given our situation, we would have probably done differently. But Sheldon and I had a lot of discussion about it, and we just decided that it would be best if we were in the spot of those teams. That's what we would want, and so that's what we did last night.
So is Ilya out as part of an emergency as well?
Ilya is not. Yeah, he will not dress tonight.
Right.
I'm not going to get in at this point in the year. I appreciate the question, but I'm not going to get into the specifics, other than it's something he has dealt with, he will deal with. He won't play tonight, probably unlikely for Thursday, and so Joe will come in an emergency.
So why couldn't you recall Joseph yesterday, but you could today? What was the reason you got from the league?
The reason from the league was that because of our decision, which I would agree with the league on, is that when we were going to, rather than play short on forward, we sent Joe down to the Marlies on Saturday. So the determination was that we were ineligible for an emergency recall for Matt Murray. So that's why we dressed ATO, and we knew that when we did it on Saturday. and that's when Jet Alexander came into the group.
Do you think the system needs readjusting?
I don't know. I think the league has really been. Brandon has spent a lot of time on the phone with them, and I would leave that to them. Other than to say, they've been very good for us to deal with. There have been some difficult conversations as we've kind of gone through. Our priorities right now are a little bit different than I think what theirs would be, but I'll leave that up to them. I don't think it's my position to say.
Who made the call on Jet getting into that game on Saturday?
On Saturday night?
Yeah, how did Sheldon said he didn't make the call?
Yeah, I wasn't at the game, Mark. So all I would say on Jet, to go by, I know there's been a lot of discussion about it that I don't really care what other people think, frankly. And what people say about whether he got in or did we do it because this other team did it or why would you do that? I think the thing with Jet that people should know is that Jet Alexander has been around our program for a number of years as an ATO guy and as an emergency guy. Donates a lot of his time to be there just in case. Goes out of his way to be there for practices for other teams and our team. And the University of Toronto and the coach Ryan Mandel have been great partners for us. And when you've been there, I mean, you're probably the primary person that captures a lot when we need forwards or D for practice. They're always quick to have their people come and have their people come and be a part of practice, forwards or D or Jet or other members of their club. And so I thought it was, in the end, my reflection on it is it was the right thing. Once it happened, I was here in this building actually when that all transpired. But I thought it was a nice thing to do given what Jet has done, volunteering his time with the University of Toronto program has done for us.
Why was it such a priority for you to get Matt Nyes in the lineup right away? 'Cause that seems to be what's caused a lot of this.
Yeah, I would say, Josh, that because of the fact that their team was so good, what that did was it led to them going obviously till Saturday to the very, very end. And so then you've only got a limited runway. And when we were going through, and as I'd outlined at the trade deadline, to go back to that, we always knew that was kind of his goal, right? His goal was to win a national championship, and we were we were supportive of that. We wanted them to win the whole thing, and I think he just got some great experience here throughout the season with Bob's program at Minnesota, and then here this week, it's been pretty impressive the level of big games he's played in. But that said, Sheldon's never coached him. Our staff has never coached him, and so we just viewed it as important that he's got these games. Obviously he went back to Minnesota, then back here, but the games are there on the schedule. We have the opportunity. Let's have him go and see what he's got. It's never going to be perfect at this time of the year with that. We just thought it's an option for us. We don't know what the option is, and I don't want to put any undue pressure on him, but let him fly and see what he can do. So he's got the 3 games here this week, and we'll evaluate it and evaluate our health and then roll from there.
How many ATO guys did you bring on that trip?
We haven't really brought them on the trip. It's been touch and go and getting them to each individual spot and having them fly in and do different things like that. So it's been I don't even know what number we're at now and counting. So we kind of knew this was a possibility last week once Matt went down, not getting with it being within the last 10 games, no LTI relief, not knowing his day-to-day status. So at that point, we kind of put it to our player personnel department, our goaltending department. We might need a list of guys here just in case we're in this spot. And then so last night Nick Chenard backed up. Tonight Matthias Onuska from Windsor will back up, and then we've got kind of Samuel Richard Richard from the University of New Brunswick, just won the national championship. He came in today not knowing where we're at, so we've got him as well and others in the mix in case we need.
So how is Matt?
My understanding is he's continuing to progress.
But he's not.
No, the discussion on Sunday was that he was trending towards coming. Then just the decision was just to leave him, let him rehab, and go from there.
But it is a concussion. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to be clear on the timeline, were you permitted Wall to be activated once it was clear that Samsonov wasn't going to dress tonight?
I actually don't have a clear. I don't have the clear definition of what that mechanism was, other than we were informed that Wall was eligible to play.
Okay.
So I would have to get a deeper answer from that, and I would probably defer to the league on what their exact mechanism was. Brandon called me and told me that Wall was able to play.
When did Wall get here?
Today. So yeah. So
We'll take one
there
more
we go.
question.
How did the Nice contract come to be? Like, what were there any
Oh,
challenges in putting that together? And
Yeah, I mean, he's had a great program, so I never viewed it as a slam dunk, and that's when I'm talking about the flexibility by having that slot and space open. Luke, like, I never viewed it as a slam dunk that he was definitely going to come out. I didn't. There's a lot of rumors about what as there are with all those types of teams, what each individual player is going to do, and in his case, I saw. I mean, I think we thought physically he's certainly ready to do it. He played on a really good line there, very good coaching. And so we had some conversations with them, not with him, but with his representatives leading up, try to give him his space. And then after the game, Saturday and Sunday, it was sort of decision time. So he had to make his call. The contract, we have a pretty set standard on where we're at, but obviously we, going back to Josh's question, we did view it as important to be able to get him in and let him roll and see what we got. So, that's that. All right. Thanks, everybody.
What was the challenge like last night when you don't think you're playing, you skate hard in the morning, you don't take work? Like, what was that like last night?
That was the first for me. It was, I was on the bus over with the extras. There was 3 or 4 of us, and it was probably 6:50 or something like that. We were on the bus over, and I had my headphones in, and all of a sudden I got a call from Sheldon, and I was thinking it was a pocket dial. I was like, what could possibly, this doesn't make any sense right now. And he just said, "Where are you?" And I said, "On the bus." And he said, "Well, how long can you be here?" And I said, "I think we're about 10 or 15 minutes away." And he just said, "Well, you're in tonight, and try to make it whenever you can." So I got out there just in time for the anthem. So that was a first for me, and boys had a good laugh about it, and it was a first for me, and luckily it turned out all right.
Did you feel it? Like, you saw you tried to stretch before, like right before the opening faceoff. Like, what was it like physically?
Yeah, I mean, obviously over the course of my career too, there's different injuries that you typically have to warm up and different muscles and body parts and stuff. So I spent a lot of time warming up for a game, like 45 minutes to an hour probably, and to go cold into that one, that was a new experience. And I just jumped on the ice, and it was kind of like going into a beer league game. Just stretch the hips out a little bit, and away you go.
You change your first period intermission more any differently for you, just because you're still in the warm-up mode at that point, or were you just kind of warm at that point?
No, that was fine. I think it was the first shift. Obviously, when you're not, you don't touch the puck or nothing like that before you jump into the game or get on the ice. Dean Schenn, our D coach, he just kind of told me right off the start. He goes, "I'll let you get on the ice a little bit in the first TV timeout, and then we'll get you going after that." So, sure, sounds good. So it was kind of a crazy situation. As a joke for the boys, I started doing a couple stretches on the bus for them, a little get a laugh for them. A couple high knees on the bus, so they had a good chuckle out of it.
third game in a row, you guys are using an amateur goalie. I mean, you've seen a lot of stuff in this league, but how can you put in perspective what that's like, and how are you guys treating those guys in the room and stuff like?
I mean, I obviously haven't really seen a ton of it. The salary cap sometimes brings on certain situations where it's kind of out of the ordinary when you're dealing with cap complications and recalls and emergency. I understand the cap a little bit, not to this extreme. So, obviously they're all really good kids. I think some of they all probably can't believe that they're in this situation, and a lot of them, and they're just awesome guys. We're trying to take them in and chat with them a little bit, and they're a little bit shy, but we're just trying to make them feel comfortable. This is probably a once in a lifetime opportunity for them, and just if you put yourself in their shoes, you're probably coming in thinking, how the heck did this happen, and how proud their families must be, and all their friends and everyone talking to them and texting them along the way. So you want to make this memorable for them and have a good experience.
What can you learn about Tampa tonight that might help you, or is this completely a wash game just because both teams are locked in and maybe don't want to show too much?
I don't think any game in the NHL is ever a wash. I mean, there's always things you can work on, and there's always a process as far as where you want your game to be. Obviously, we know that it's going to be an extremely tough first round, and I don't think both teams are going to go out there and just kind of ease through the game and wait for what's going to happen in a week. I expect them to come out strong, and we got to match that. Obviously, it's it's going to be a battle for sure, and they got a bunch of winners over there who've obviously had a lot of success, and they're on home ice tonight, and it's going to be a really good challenge for us, and we got to continue to worry about ourselves and try to follow our process.
mean, if anything, when you're facing a team you're going to play in the playoffs the next week? Like, what does tonight mean?
I think it's going to be a little bit of a tone setter. For us, we're battling with a little bit of adversity. Some guys are taking rest, so I think it's a good opportunity for everyone, especially someone like me in the bottom six, to get a little bit more playing time. It'll be good for Nyzy to get some playing time, so good opportunity for a lot of the guys.
First impression of Matt?
I thought he was really strong last night. Like, his skating's really good, the way he protects the puck. He had a couple of those own shifts where he was putting guys in spin cycles down low, so I think the future's bright for him.
What's it like? There's been a bunch of amateur tryout guys as goaltenders. Like, how do you handle that? Do you try and meet them, or what's been your perspective on that?
I'm not sure the logistics of it. I know, salary cap era, we're tied up against the cap. I mean, kind of just the way things have to be. But for those guys, I think it's a great experience to be able to, get a taste of what it's like to be in the NHL. And, nothing special, just talk to them, make them feel comfortable, and introduce yourself and things like that. I mean, they're hockey players too, so.
What do you make of what Luke Schenn was able to do despite getting, 10 minutes notice he was going in last night?
Yeah, that's not an easy position to be in. I'm not sure what he ate before the game, but I know sometimes when you're out, you might have a bowl of ice cream or something. But, he came in, did a great job. He had 7 hits. He's called the human eraser for a reason.
Lineup changes tonight, Sheldon?
Matthews and Marner won't play tonight. Giordano won't play. Yarncroc will play.
Any update on Gustafsson? Is he any more clarity on how he's doing?
Nah, he's day-to-day. He's not going to play today.
Are any of the guys who are out dealing with injuries, or is this just purely a rest thing?
Yes, I mean, just a rest thing.
How do you approach managing the bench in a game like this, considering who's out?
Yeah, it's an extra opportunity for everybody. Get a look at some different things, different matchups and things like that. It's going to be another really competitive, physical game, all those kind of things. So it's a good chance for us to be there. I mean, we'll be 11 forwards and 7 defense again. 6 defense here today. We'll go 1 under. Lots of ice time for guys. The 6D will get the roll with some consistency, but 11 forwards is pretty much the same as it's been.
What stands out about what Luke was able to do despite the late notice last night?
Yeah, he just comes in with a good attitude. That's really the big thing. I mean, I think, the preparation, all that kind of stuff, it's, probably a little bit overrated, but coming in, your mental approach to it is really what can dictate whether you're going to succeed or not. And he had some fun with it, as the guys did too, and stepped in and did a good job.
What about Marner? How did he take the news? He kind of indicated that he wasn't a big fan of sitting out games to us before.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is a big fan of sitting out games, but I think the conversations that he has with me are different than he has with you.
How did you approach the ATO goalies? Did you have conversations with them, or what's that been like?
I've had no conversations with them, no. Curtis Sanford's, he runs the goalie department, so he's been leading all that up.
What's your sense of how much 100 points means to Mitch?
I think it means a lot to guys. Obviously, it was a similar situation last year. You want to get there, but like I said, all of our players, Mitch included, they're looking big picture. There's a lot of reason to here in a back-to-back. An intense game yesterday. Mitch has played more than anybody on our team, and is going to play more than anybody on our team when it counts the most. So that's the most important thing. He'll go back in on Thursday, and he'll have an opportunity to get that. But I mean, I can't remember where he finished last year, but I think in my mind, you round up. That's the way it works. I can't remember what grade it was when my kids went through the rounding stage, but they know how to do that. To me, you're a 100-point guy as it is, but you'd like to get there. But like I said, all of our players are focused on bigger things.